Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here tonight. My name is Erin Griffith, and I am the educator here at the Silver City Museum. And tonight is a very special night, especially for this region of the Southwest. And we are celebrating Day of the Dead. And with us here tonight, we have two special guest readers. We have Diana Levy and Angelica Padilla, and both of them have been very instrumental and very helpful in making sure that the Day of the Dead becomes a little bit more known and the traditions of it in this area, especially Diana, who has throughout her time here, I believe she actually started the Day of the Dead parade and works on that we usually have every year. Now this year's a little different, as we all know, but that doesn't stop the tradition, that doesn't stop the celebration, and that doesn't stop these two amazing women from being here with us tonight to read for you The Spirit of Tio Fernando. And this is a gorgeous book with some beautiful illustrations written by Janice Levy or Levy, I'm not entirely sure. Here's the cover we've got right here. Does everyone see that? I'll go back to that in a second. And before we get started, just a little house cleaning. I want to remind everybody that all of our programs here at the museum are free to the public and the community. However, we do request, if you can, a small donation, $5 or so, what you can. And I'll put the link up to make that at www.silvercitymuseum.org. I'll put the link up on the chat box here in a second. And also at the end of this, you'll be receiving a link for a little survey. Please take that. It's just 5 minutes, and I really appreciate the feedback. Helps us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and how we can better serve and reach our audience. So if you'll please take the time out, just 5 minutes, I really appreciate that. And I also want to thank one more person. I would like to thank Scott Zager, who is our cameraman. You will be seeing his thumb in the upper box there. It is that thumb, ladies and gentlemen, that very thumb that he will be using to zoom in on the pictures in the book that Diana Levy is holding. So I want to thank him as well. And let's get started. We have Diana Levy.
Hi. Angelica should start actually because the Spanish starts first.
Okay.
Desde Janice Levy y ilustrado de Morela Fuenmayor. El Día de los Muertos es una festividad que data de siglos, en la que se mezclan antiguas costumbres aztecas y ritos, tradiciones de los católicos. Se celebra en México y en Centroamérica. En México, donde tiene lugar esta historia, la festividad comienza el 31 de octubre y hasta el 2 de noviembre. Durante este tiempo se honra la memoria de los muertos, cuyos espíritus, según las creencias, nos visitan en la tierra. En las casas se construyen altares y los mercados están llenos de comida típicas de esta festividad. En muchos lugares se llevan a cabo procesiones y obras de teatro. Muchas personas acuden al cementerio. Una vez que termina la fiesta y los espíritus retornan a su mundo, a los participantes les invade un sentimiento de paz y felicidad, porque saben que han logrado que las almas de los difuntos se sientan amadas y no olvidadas.
The Day of the Dead is a centuries-old mixing ancient Aztec and traditional Catholic customs. It is celebrated throughout Mexico and Central America. In Mexico, where the story takes place, the holiday lasts from October 31st to November 2nd. During this time, people who have died are honored. Their spirits are believed to visit the earth. Altars are built in homes, and the markets are filled with special holiday foods. Plays and parades are held in many places. Often, people celebrate in the cemeteries. When the holiday is over and the spirits have returned to the spirit world, the celebrants are happy and at peace, knowing they have made the souls of the dead feel loved and remembered.
Are there any pictures that we can see? Oh, no, that's later.
It's just words.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, what a pretty rose.
Despiértate, me dice mi mamá. Hoy es el Día de los Muertos. Vamos a honrar la memoria de tu tío Fernando. Mientras me visto, veo salir el sol y me acordó con nostalgia de Fernando, mi tío preferido, quien falleció hace 6 meses. Yo me llamo Fernando como él, pero todos me llaman Nando. Tío Fernando tenía las piernas largas y delgadas, y el segundo dedo del pie derecho era más largo que el dedo gordo, al igual que el mío. Cuando me alzaba en el aire, me hacía cosquillas con el bigote en la barbilla. Siempre me traía caramelos de coco que se me pegaban a los dientes.
Wake up, my mother calls. It's the Day of the Dead. We're going to honor your Tio Fernando. As I get dressed, I miss my favorite uncle, Fernando, who died 6 months ago. I'm named Fernando after him, but everyone calls me Nando. Tio Fernando has long, skinny legs, and the second toe of his right foot was longer than his big toe, just like mine. His mustache would tickle my chin when he lifted me in the air. He always brought me coconut candy that's got stuck in my teeth. And here he is greeting the sun.
Ayer, mamá lavó la piedra de la tumba de tío Fernando y yo la pinté de azul y rosado y quité la maleza que había crecido a su alrededor. Ayudé a mi mamá a colocar el altar en la sala. Primero, lavamos las paredes y barrimos el piso. Luego, sacamos el mantel con pájaros bordados en amarillo y verde. Ella se echó a reír y dijo, ¿te acuerdas cómo se negaba a hablar el loro de tío?
Yesterday, my mother scrubbed Tio Fernando's tombstone. I painted it pink and blue and pulled up loose weeds. I helped my mother set up the altar in the living room. First, we washed the walls and swept the floor. Then we opened the tablecloth with yellow and green embroidered birds. My mother laughed. Do you remember how Tio's parrot refused to talk? And there they are, putting the tablecloth on the table.
Esta mañana, mamá ha colocado velas que despiden un dulce aroma en la mesa, alrededor de las fotografías de tío Fernando. En una de las fotos, estoy sentado sobre sus hombros. Los dos llevamos gorras de béisbol. Me recuerdo una vez que tío Fernando dejó que yo escogiera los números de la buena suerte. Había dicho que si ganaba la lotería, sería el hombre más rico de México y viajaríamos en el alto hasta California para ver jugar a los Dodgers. Mamá pone la comida favorita de mi tío, chocolate, refresco de cola y mole en el altar. Yo colocó su flauta de madera. Cuando él nos visitaba, tocaba la flauta para que yo lo escuchara.
This morning, my mother places sweet-smelling cake on the table around pictures of Tio Fernando. In one of the photographs, I'm sitting on his shoulders. We are both wearing baseball caps. I remember when Tio Fernando let me pick his lucky numbers. He said if he won the loteria, he would be the richest man in Mexico, and we'd drive all the way to California to see the Dodgers play baseball. My mother puts my uncle's favorite foods, chocolate, cola, and mole on the altar. I lay his wooden flute there too. When he visited, Tio Fernando would play it for me. You can see the pictures and you can see him sitting on his shoulders. If it were my altar, my parents would be on it and my grandparents. Angelica, who would you have on your altar?
I think I would have my grandparents that have passed on and maybe some of my cousins, just to remember them.
It's a special thing.
Yes. Would you guys at home put anyone on your altar? Think about it.
Una vez terminado el altar, mamá prepara el almuerzo. El Día de los Muertos es el tiempo de recordar a las personas que, aunque han fallecido, estarán siempre en nuestros corazones. Dice mi mamá, esta noche, durante la fiesta, llevaremos al cementerio las cosas preferidas de Tío Fernando. Nos reunimos con su espíritu y le dejaremos saber que no los hemos olvidado. ¿Cómo encontraré el espíritu del tío? ¿Lo podré ver? ¿Hará algún ruido? ¿Cómo sabré que es él realmente? Preguntó. ¿Cuántas preguntas? Dice mi madre y me da un beso. Hay cosas que solo los alcanzamos a comprender a su debido tiempo. Ahora, Nandito, ve al mercado y compra algo que te recuerdo a tu tío. Me dice y mete unos pesos en mi bolsillo.
When the altar is done, my mother makes lunch. The Day of the Dead is a time to remember people who have died, whom we will always love, my mother says. Tonight, at the fiesta, we will bring Tio Fernando's special things to the cemetery. We'll meet with his spirit and show him he has not been forgotten. How will I meet Tio's spirit? Will I see him? Will he make noise? How will I know it is really him? I ask. So many questions, my mother kisses me. Some things we just know when it's time to know. She tucks some pesos in my pocket. Go to the market, Nandito. Buy some things that remind you of your uncle. And she's putting coins in his pocket. Angelica, what things would you put in on your altar? Get special for the altar.
I think, I would put on my altar maybe a cup of coffee, un taza de café, because I know that we all loved coffee and drinking coffee together, those of my family that have passed on. And also maybe some fruits and veggies and maybe some of their favorite foods and water. Water is very important for our altars.
Yes. I was thinking that for my mother, I would add a deck of cards because she was always playing solitaire, always.
¿Qué podré llevarle al tío al cementerio? Me preguntó mientras recorro el mercado. ¡Pan de muerto!, grita el señor Romero en la plaza del mercado y alza hogazas de pan que parecen huesos entrelazados. Aprieta un pequeño tubo y con el merengue dibuja una calavera y unos huesos cruzados en un pastel redondo.
What can I take to the cemetery for Tio? I wander through the market. Bread of the dead, Senor Romero shouts in the marketplace. He holds up loaves of bread that look like twisted bones. He squeezes icing from a tube and draws a skull and crossbones on a round cake. And you can see the cakes and stuff right there.
Aquí tienes, Nando. El señor Romero me da una calavera de azúcar, azul y rosada con ojos de papel de estaño y escribe mi nombre en la frente. Muchas gracias, señor Romero. Y me quedó observando mi nombre en la calavera. ¿Cómo encontraré el espíritu de mi tío Fernando? No lo sé, Nando, pero cuando lo hayas encontrado, tu corazón te lo dirá. Pienso en los caramelos que mi tío lanzaba en el aire y agarraba con la boca. Compró un esqueleto de mazapán y un pastel largo y delgado como mi tío Fernando.
Here, Nando. Senor Romero hands me a blue and pink sugar skull with tinfoil eyes. He writes my name on its forehead. Thank you, Senor Romero. I stare at my name on the skull. How will I meet Tio Fernando's spirit? I don't know, Nando, but when you do, your heart will be full. I think of the candy my uncle would throw in the air and catch in his mouth. I buy a skeleton of marzipan candy and a cake baked narrow and skinny like Tio Fernando. And there he is painting his name on the skull.
Disfraces de diablo, canta la señora Migdalia y me muestra las campanitas de plata y los espejitos que ha cosido en unos pantalones negros. Estoy haciendo disfraces para los enmascarados, dice. Aquí tienes, Nando. Y me da un pañuelo blanco relleno con palitos. Ata una gomita por la mitad y le dibuja de los ojos negros, de los dos ojos negros. Para ti, me dice.
Devil's costumes, Senora Magdalena sings. She shows me the silver bells and mirrors she has sewn onto black pants. I'm making devil's costumes for the masqueraders, she says. Here, Nando, Senora Magdalena gives me a white handkerchief stuffed with sticks. She ties a rubber band around the middle and draws two black eyes. This is for you. And here you see her doing just that. And in the background, you see some costumes. And, you know, generally there's a parade and stuff like that for Day of the Dead too. And we missed that for sure this year. And everybody gets dressed up. And Angelica, how do you dress for Day of the Dead?
Well, for Day of the Dead, I try to paint my head out like a skeleton, and usually for me it's my my mariachi traje that I use for Day of the Dead also.
You always look so beautiful.
Okay. Muchas gracias, señora Migdalia. Muevo el fantasma que tengo en la mano. ¿Cómo encontraré el espíritu de mi tío Fernando? No lo sé, Nando. Pero una vez que lo encuentres, sentirás Pienso en la y cómo cambiaba la voz, haciéndole más profundo, o más alta, o más temblorosa. Compro una fantasma de papel de color naranja y negro y que está suelto a una barría y un esqueleto hecho de papel maché montado en un pequeño caballo.
Thank you, Senora Magdalena. I shake the ghost in my hand. How will I meet Tia Fernando's spirit? I don't know, Nando. When you do, you will feel good inside. I think of the spooky stories my uncle told me. I remember how he made his voice deep or high or squeaky. I buy an orange and black one on a stick and a paper mache skeleton riding a small horse. And then you can see the toys and what he's got in his bag.
Decoro el mercado en un extremo y al otro me detengo en todos los puestos de venta. Hay tanto que ver, tanto que pensar. Me encuentro con mi mamá. Mira todas las cosas que ha comprado y se sonríe.
I walk from one end of the market to the other and stop at every stall. There is so much to see. There is so much to think about. I meet my mother. She looks at the things I have bought and smiles. There's the market, and it looks like such a busy, happy place.
Dame la mano, Nandito, dice ella. Está oscureciendo. La calle está lleno de músicos y de gente disfrazada y con máscaras que da vueltas en círculo. Bailo las compas de la serenata de los enmascarados y él me rió al escuchar las canciones sobre la vida y la muerte que a los actores cantan en el escenario.
Hold my hand, Nandito. She says, it's getting dark. The street is crowded with musicians. People in costumes and masks twirl in circles. I dance to a mummer serenade and laugh at the actors on stage singing songs about life and death. And there you see the actors on stage and the audience down below.
Ven, dice mi mamá, vamos a la tumba del tío Fernando. El cementerio está cerca. Afuera compramos clavelones, la flor de los muertos. Los colocamos sobre la tumba de mi tío y parece como si estuviese cubierta por un manto anaranjado. También los atamos la cruz. Here's the paper marigolds, los clavelones.
Come, says my mother. Let's go to Tia's grave now. The cemetery is nearby. Outside it, my mother and I buy marigolds, the special flowers of the dead. We place the flowers on Tia's grave, and they look like an orange blanket. We tie them on the cross too. And you can see the cross in the center.
Mi mamá toca la guitarra y entona las canciones preferidas de mi tío. Enciende una vela y pide que el alma de tío Fernando se una a nosotros en esta festividad, para él que recuerde el mundo que dejó atrás. ¿Está aquí el espíritu de tío Fernando?, preguntó en un susurro. Mamá cierra los ojos y me rodea con el abrazo. Escucho palpitar su corazón. ¿Oh, es acaso el mío?
My mother plays the guitar and sings my uncle's favorite songs. She lights a candle and asks the soul of Tio Fernando to join us in the fiesta, to remember the world he left behind. Is Tia Fernando's spirit here? I whisper. My mother closes her eyes and puts her arm around me. I hear her heart beating, or maybe it is my own. There's Mama playing the guitar.
Siento algo que me roza la mejilla y un pájaro silba tan alto como el sonido de una flauta. Un viento tibio me envuelve de la cabeza y a los pies. Bajo la vista y veo como el segundo dedo de mi pie derecho sobresale de mi sandalia.
I feel a tickling across my cheek. A bird whistles as high as a flute. A warm wind blows from my head to my feet. I look down and I see how the second toe of my right foot sticks out of my sandal.
El espíritu de tío Fernando miró a mi madre. Ella abre los ojos y se sonríe. Entonces sé que tío Fernando está contento con su fiesta. Él sabe que los queremos y que no lo hemos olvidado.
The spirit of Tia Fernando. I look at my mother. She opens her eyes and smiles. Then I am sure that Tio Fernando is happy with his fiesta. He knows that we love him and that he has not been forgotten. Look how happy they are right here.
Okay. This is el espíritu de tío Fernando.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. Wasn't that a great story? It's just so sweet and so touching. And I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and hope you enjoyed it. And please remember to come back in 2 weeks when we have Ted Pressler and Xochitl Hernandez will be reading Thunder Boy Jr. That's a pretty fun one. I look forward to that. So, but before we go, I want to thank again Miss Diana Leyba and Angelica Padilla, and be on the lookout for Angelica's glorious mariachi performances you'll see around town. So if you see her, if you want to book her, please get in touch. She's amazing. And also for Diana Leyba, who is a sponsor of so many amazing community activities, the Day of the Dead Parade and Youth Mural Project, and also the gallery downtown. You probably do recognize the name from that. She's got some amazing pieces in there right now, including a Ofrenda by Nana Benavides and Chicky Beltran that you probably really want to see. And some of the things described in this book will be on view there. So you probably want to stop by. I highly encourage you to do so. And don't forget to donate if you can. The link's in the chat box there. And just thank you again. Happy Day of the Dead. Have a good night. Have a good sleep. And bye from all of us. Night. Thank you.
Okay, good job, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
It's okay.
All right. It wasn't so.
Oh, you guys are great.
Oh, it's so funny to hear them.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't so painful, huh?
No, it's okay.
Well, good.